Hey everyone, this is Mark Freedman, GameCall.net, giving you Chapter 2 of my Dwarf Fortress walkthrough. So if you remember before, we embarked here at the volcano, and here is my main stockpile of my basic goods, and we have a couple farms going, and they got some nice plump helmet spawns growing in the farm and ready to go. And we set up some workshops below here, and we've designated some stockpile rooms below the warehouses to store some stuff. So let's go ahead and resume. We'll let our guys dig out the areas, and they're coming, and we're going to dig out some spaces for some wood and some gems. So we'll be in good shape. So everyone's hauling stuff around, getting trees, gathering wood and so forth, which is good. Now you can see here we have different colored wood. So the ash and the maple is brown, and the feather wood, which I've never heard of before, that's white. So that would mean that you would get different, white beds versus brown beds depending on what's going on. So, okay, so we got this 2 stockpiles on the left dug out. So let's go ahead and designate specifically a wood stockpile down here, and we'll make it the full size of the room. Now it looks like I covered up the stairway, but it will actually still be there, even if there's a piece of wood on the stairway. And one thing we can do is you can link stockpiles together. So what I'm going to do is I hit Q to go to my stockpile settings. I'm going to hit T for take from a pile or workshop. And I'm going to assign it to take from the wood that I have on the stockpile on the surface. And that will create hauling tasks to haul wood from the surface down here. So it'll fill up nicely, and then it's right below where my carpentry shop is, so he'll have quick access to wood, which will be nice. And then similarly, I'm going to create a gems stockpile. So I hit P and then E for gems, and I'm going to move all my gems down here. I think my miners have found a few gems here and there, so we'll be good to go. So I resumed the play, and my miners are continuing to dig out on the right side, and as you can see, guys are starting to bring wood from the outside world down here below. And while that's going, I'm going to start building some wooden items from my carpenter shop. So hit Q to go to the building tasks menu, and I'm going to hit A for add new task. And I'd like to first construct a few beds. Dwarves can sleep on the ground, which is okay, but really they like sleeping in beds. Beds are comfy, of course, and they're made of wood. And unfortunately, beds have to be made out of wood. You can't have a stone bed. I don't think there's actually any mattresses or anything. So let's go ahead and set up some wood. And I'd also like to build a few barrels. Barrels can be used to store seeds and other items, as well as liquor. And then there's also bins, which store... I think bins are generally used to store smaller items like gems. I don't remember exactly, to be honest. Weapons, I think, go in bins. So we queued up a few things there, and then hopefully my carpenter will come by and go ahead and start building that stuff. And he has wood nearby, which is very nice for him. So you can see the yellow dwarf there. You saw him run downstairs to get a piece of wood from the stockpile nearby. Generally, the dwarf will get the closest item in proximity to him, and you see he is tasked with constructing the bed. If I hit T on the building, we can see that there's ash logs designated for a task here on the right. So he will construct the bed. It shouldn't take him too long. As he gets it took him a little bit there. As he gets better with the skill, he'll make the item quicker and possibly make it at a higher value. So as you can see here in the workshop, there's still the bed sitting there, and it has the plus on either side of it, which means it's a finely crafted bed, which means it's going to be a little bit more valuable than a basic plotted bed. dead, so that's good. Dwarves like seeing higher quality items, so hopefully some dwarves will like staying there. In the meantime, so he's gonna go on to the next carpentry task until he gets tired and wants to go to bed or eat food. You know, he'll start doing his own things. So we have the masonry shop set up. I'd like to set up some tasks there as well. So I'm gonna create a stone stockpile over here. I'm not gonna set it. I'm gonna set it to be most of the size of this room at first. So I set it to be stone, but I'd like to only have certain kinds of stone here. Basically, I want my kind of cruddy stone that don't have much of a value beyond being used for crafting stuff. So I'm gonna take away my metal ores. I don't want metal ores here, so I'm gonna forbid those with the F key. I'm not gonna have my economic stones here, or clays. I'm just gonna have other stones, which are just kind of basic stones, which aren't particularly valuable, which can be used to store stuff, or sorry, create stuff. So that will create some hauling labors for guys that are hauling, and then at my masonry shop, I'm going to start constructing some things like tables and chairs. So I'm going to create a couple tables, and then create a couple, actually called thrones when they're made of stone. So you can make tables and chairs out of wood, or you can do stone. Later on you can do glass. You want to mix it up a little bit. I like to use stone for these things because wood is generally a harder resource to get than stone. It's fairly easy to find stone. So we're going to do that, and I'm going to go ahead and create a few mechanisms, which, if you remember from Chapter 1, mechanisms can be used for installing traps or levers. So if you want to create a drawbridge, you need to create a lever and hook it up via mechanisms. So let's go ahead and construct a few mechanisms. Someone with the mechanics labor will be able to do that. Now, one other stockpile room I want to set up down here is a stockpile for finished goods. So one thing I may do with this fortress is set up a industry of creating finished goods like mugs or toys or other things like that, which don't have any real value. They don't have any, tangible, usable value for the dwarves, but they're good for selling items, trading items. So that works out pretty well. And I'm going to go ahead and designate a few more areas on the next Z level. I'm going to set up my north-south staircases as well. Most likely on this floor I'm going to set up a dining hall and kitchen area. So we can go ahead and start digging, where we want to do that. So it'd be good to set up a kitchen and a butchery for butchering hunted animals and things like that. So we can go ahead and designate that for digging. So let's go ahead and fire away, see what my guys are up to. Okay, they're drinking and things like that.